So, in the midst of all the channel rebrand stuff I've been working on, I didn't get the chance to do a proper build-up video to the Nintendo Direct, but I'm more than happy to do a react video here. I'll do this assuming you've already watched it, so I won't go into everything that they showed, but I'll instead be plucking out the highlights with a little something extra at the end, so be sure to stick around for that. Welcome back to Little Akiba Games. I'm Patrick. Let's get right into it. I'll admit it, I'm not the biggest Donkey Kong fan, and found it kind of weird that people have been talking like it is absolutely mandatory that a new Donkey Kong game get produced during the Switch's lifespan. However, I am most definitely a fan of the arm of the franchise born of Nintendo's 1994 reimagining of the original Donkey Kong on the Game Boy, and whether this is a remake or a brand new installment of the series, it wasn't immediately clear on the Direct. I'm excited either way since I never got the chance to play the original Mario vs. Donkey Kong if that's what this in fact is. I'm telling you, even if you're skeptical, check this one out. It's a nice, simple, old-school example of the 2D platformer. Watching the official Horizon Chase social media has been really frustrating in the last couple of years because Apple Arcade has had exclusivity on Horizon Chase 2 for all this time. Thankfully, that exclusivity window is over, and we now have an actual console version of Horizon Chase 2 on the Switch, with other platforms presumably to follow. The original Horizon Chase Turbo was a surprise arcade racing hit, especially geared toward fans of the 4th gen era of the genre, with gobs of content to go along with it, and I probably won't take long getting into the sequel myself after I get this video done. It's already well documented that 4th gen was the period of time that influenced me the most as an import gamer, even though I didn't get access to imports until 5th gen, and one of the biggest gems I discovered during that time was the Romancing Saga series, which were simultaneously the best games in the series up to that point, and the ones we never got in on in the West until recently. Thankfully, the Saga franchise has seen a renaissance in recent years with both remakes of the Romancing Saga trilogy and new installments like Saga Scarlet Grace. Now we have Saga Emerald Beyond to follow up on that momentum as Akitoshi Kawazu's brainchild continues enjoying new life. If you like your JRPGs a little off the beaten path, a little experimental, give this one a look when it drops, as well as anything else with the Saga name attached to it. Since their gradual re-emergence in the game industry, Konami have been what can only be described as preservation zealots, bringing back as much of their back catalog as possible for modern hardware. However, they aren't completely adverse to producing new games either, and this one, Contra Operation Galuga, was a nice surprise at the Nintendo Direct. Not only does it look like a great Contra game in its own right, the first in quite some time at that, it's hopefully an indication that Konami is moving to periodically pull a classic formula out of its catalog for a new modern iteration. If true, it's hard to imagine a more appropriate partner in development than WayForward. I'll be buying this one on launch because I really want this initiative to succeed. It boggles my mind that Unicorn Overlord is getting criticized on its name alone when it marks a collaboration between Atlas and Vanillaware on a strategy RPG, and all of the implied potential therein. Before I knew what this was, I almost wondered if we were seeing a Suikoden 6 or Suikoden Tactics 2 announcement here, which would have been insane. Even as it stands, this looks to be a fun strategy RPG worthy of inclusion in the library of any fan of the genre. Thank its detractors. It's because of them that this game will likely be a highly sought-after holy grail in the Switch catalog 10 years from now. I wish my take on F-Zero 99 was pure glowing praise. I do. On the surface, it looks like a fun new installment of the series, and I'm happy to see 2D F-Zero get some love in 2023 when it seems like people can only bring themselves to talk about the 3D installments. I'm sure it will be a fantastic game for what it is, no question. Full disclosure, I haven't had the chance to play it yet because I've been busy with channel stuff. Unfortunately, the 99 in the title carries a lot of baggage, a certain inevitability that the game will be taken offline in surprisingly short order, that gives me a great deal of pause about bothering to pick it up at all. I absolutely despise investing my time into a game and really getting into it only to have it rendered completely inaccessible a couple years down the road. Some assurance from Nintendo that this won't just be a limited time attraction would go a long way here. Even if I do play it, I feel like that lack of assurance will get in the way of my enjoyment of it, which is a real shame. When the upcoming Suikoden, Gate-Rune, and Dun & Unification Wars collection recently slipped to 2024, I had this lingering suspicion that Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes was sure to follow, and follow it did at the September Nintendo Direct. It's not all bad news, however. The trailer shown here gave us a quick glimpse of the game's battle system, implying that lessons about gameplay have been learned in the years since those early Suikoden titles. If that water margin-inspired concept can be wrapped up in a fun and engaging battle system, Eiyuden Chronicle will be a can't-miss release for Switch-owning JRPG fans next year. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door has been the worst-kept secret in Nintendo's hand for nearly a year at this point. The only surprising thing about it to come from the September Direct is that it's penciled in for 2024, as all indications prior to this were that the port is essentially done and could have been a shadow drop back in June if Nintendo had so wished it. I'll be picking it up because I've never played it, and I love that it screws over the aftermarket on the GameCube version. But perhaps even more noteworthy is that its reveal corroborates a leak that has F-Zero GX coming to the Switch shortly after. If Nintendo plays its cards right, by which I mean including online play, F-Zero GX could be a huge release for the Switch's twilight years. And that was it for this version of the Nintendo Direct. However, this is Little Akiba Games, and we keep a close eye on the import scene here, so here's a good look at what you missed if you didn't catch the Japanese presentation. I've never tried the Romance of the Three Kingdoms series myself, but by all accounts, from what I've heard, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 is one of the best games in the series, if not the best, so this Switch remake is kind of a big deal for strategy fans. Koei takes their strategy games very seriously, also offering up franchises like Nobunaga's Ambition and Kessen, so this looks like a really good jumping on point for those interested in trying the genre out. I may even give it a shot myself if there's English language support, which is sadly unconfirmed as of this recording. Momotaro Dentetsu World is an intriguing inclusion in this presentation, if only because the series' most recent installment, 2020's Momotaro Dentetsu Showa Heisei Reiwa Moteban, is still tearing up the sales charts in Japan, frequently appearing on the weekly top 30. Akira Sakuma's train-themed Momotaro Dentetsu franchise far and away represents Konami's biggest brand never to be brought over to North America, and although there's no confirmation that's about to change, having World in the title represents at least a glimmer of hope that an English-friendly version will hit store shelves and show us why this has been such an enduring video board game across so many generations. Finally, a major standout of the Japanese presentation was Stray Children, an intriguing RPG by Onion Games that looks like what you would get if you blended Earthbound, Saga Frontier, and Undertale. I'm completely baffled as to why this game was left out of the North American show, because it would have been a major attraction for a significant portion of the types of gamers who watch Nintendo Directs, and more importantly, it has been confirmed through RP Gamer that the game will be getting a release in North America, so be sure to watch out for this one when it drops this winter. Of course, this wasn't all there was to see on either the North American or Japanese Directs, and I highly recommend you check out both shows to make sure you don't miss anything. This is just a selection of what I found to be the highlights from the two shows, and what will most likely see further coverage on this channel as time goes on. That's all for now. If you like this video, then please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube stuff that helps the channel out. Click the notification bell to know right away when a new video comes down. I hope to see you back here next time at Little Akiba Games.